Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Crypto, Coffee and LoFi. Alright, so it's pretty obvious that on the H4 and above, we're in a solid uptrend here. If we are in a solid uptrend, then we need to look at the previous levels of resistance or the previous levels of distribution to choose as our targets. If you've watched any of my previous episodes, you'll know that I like to choose objectives that lie inside of the range rather than objectives that lie outside of the range. So an example of an inside range objective would be a bearish broken base that lies on the inside of the range. So if you're new here, I'm just using the same pattern to find accumulation, distribution, support, resistance as entry triggers, as exit triggers. So that pattern pretty much being just a head and shoulders. So here we have the left shoulder, sorry. The neckline, we break above and then we fall back below. The low is responsible for taking that high. So if I am going to look for swing longs, this will be my objective. We have a similar target here on Bitcoin, but I'll go through that in a sec. Okay, so just pointing out the possible bearish distribution that I've been looking at. So sweeping above all of these equal highs right here. Distributing, falling off and breaking below this low. So again, just using the same pattern. Not really enough to enter shorts on its own, but if you come over to here, we came back to this level and we redistributed. So here we have a high, we've swept that high, and then we've started to fall off. So if we then redistribute again and we start to break structure, then we may be in for a temporary retrace. Okay, so if the structure then falls below here, breaks below, then we do have a few equal lows sitting below right there. And once we do take these equal lows, if we can reaccumulate, then we should be good for a move up into 37, 3800. However, before we assume that price is going to do that, because we know that price is uptrending, we should favor long. So if we jump onto the M15, sorry about that, we can see that there is a bullish level, and I entered a little bit early at market, but I'm still in the trade regardless. So here's a sweep of a low. We break above the high that's responsible for taking the low. A little bit easier to see on the 5-minute chart. See, right here. Then once we return, we form the same pattern again. Okay, so here's the high, but you could choose this high as well. That's where I entered. So I have my stop loss sitting just below here. So this is an easy trade. If we break below and we invalidate my long call here, then I can start to look for possible shorts, okay, into these lows. But if the long call isn't invalidated, then we can continue up. I can target these highs and even this high here. All right, so this is easy, an easy entry. If I get stopped, then I can look to enter into the other direction. Yeah, so just in a range here, not really looking for any swing positions until we break out of the range. So until we see something like this, a breakout, and then once we retest this consolidation, look for the reaccumulation on a time frame that's relevant. So I wouldn't look for the reaccumulation on the M5. I'd go into the hourly chart or the 4-hour and look for the pattern to form there. All right, now jumping onto Bitcoin. Now running through a similar process. Okay, we are clearly bullish here. So if we are bullish, if I were to enter a swing long, where are some solid inside range objectives that we can target? So to find the inside range objectives, we go over to the previous area of distribution before the sell-off and mark out all of the bearish levels, okay? So here we sweep out these highs, break above, then break below right here. So this will be, if we do get an opportunity to enter a swing long, so on the H1 or H4, if we print clear reaccumulation and then we break out of the range, then we can target 56k. So rather than expecting all-time highs and for us to break above, I'd rather just target inside the range. If price does look good around that time, then it would probably be a good idea to just leave 20 or 30% of the position on, cover the risk plus some, okay, and then just walk away and let the rest ride. But similar to ETH, we do have some lower time frame distribution. So breaking above a high, then falling back below the low is responsible for taking that high. Right here. So we break below. Then we come up, we form equal highs right here. And then we break below again. Now if we jump on to the 15-minute chart, you can see we formed a similar pattern. So an easy plan once this low has been taken would be to wait for a close, short back into it, and then look for the drop. Now if we do, I'll follow this plan as well, even though I am in that ETH long. If we do break below and then break back above and then validate my short setup, so break back above this high, then that would also be a bullish scenario. You could look to long into this range and target this high, and possibly even further, like 52k. One part of the strategy is picking out these levels of accumulation and distribution, but then another thing to keep in mind is price accumulating or distributing into an area. Okay, so picking targets. We have equal lows right there, and we have equal lows all throughout this level. If we look at this whole previous leg, there's no accumulation going on in here, which leads me to believe that if we do drop off, that we'll take out these lows and revisit previous areas of accumulation. So we have equal lows just here. Let me change that. Okay, this level sweeping out the equal lows, lying just below these equal lows. So if we can break below this low here, close below, I'll look to short. If the short is invalidated, then we can look to long into 52k. If the short is active, then targeting 45.5. Then if this level fails, that isn't good, and we'll head to sub 40k. And here is the last kind of level that I'd expect to hold. If this level doesn't hold, then we're going to revisit this area of accumulation. But I doubt we're going to go that low. I think we test this level and then continue up. But if it fails, then around 40k, maybe just below, is the area to look for longs. Not setting any limits, just using the same pattern again. So something like this. Alright, so that pretty much concludes today's episode. I'm not really looking at many alts. I'm still in this sand position, called this live on my Twitter. So again, just using the same pattern. So we're sweeping out equal lows, breaking above the high, sweeping out equal lows again, breaking above the high, and then again here. Forming the same pattern, sweeping out a low, breaking above the high, and there's the entry. Doesn't get much cleaner than that. I'll be holding this to above $2. I think this is just going to keep soaring up. But yeah, this is called live. Go check that out on my Twitter. All right, guys. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. If you're interested in the way that I trade or the way that I'm breaking down the charts, click the link in the description below. Pick up a copy of the strategy. You get access to a Discord. There's over 300 people sharing ideas using this exact strategy, sharing ways to improve. And I share my live trades there as well, so go check that out. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. See you tomorrow.